Dear audience, today we welcome Daniel Grub, Managing Director of PARTSLIFE GmbH.
Hello, Marcus.
Nice to have you here, finally.
Thank you for having me today.
On the hot seat.
I start sweating right now.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So I have prepared some questions and I hope you're going to be sweat afterwards. No, to come back to serious. Due to the fact that we have plenty of questions, let's start with the first one. Mm-hmm. Who is indeed PARTSLIFE? It's you, for sure, yeah.
No, it's not me, no. Definitely not. No, Marcus, PARTSLIFE is not me. I have the pleasure to be a part of PARTSLIFE, but actually PARTSLIFE is a company owned by the sector, by the independent automotive aftermarket. And we are there to fulfill environmental legislation, to take the load from the partners of the independent aftermarket. That means from the suppliers as well as from the traders. We are going to fulfill all the environmental legislation you have to face.
Okay. That means you are a service company for the independent aftermarket for industry suppliers, but also for the wholesaler channel.
Absolutely. Also, our owners are coming from the supplier side as well as from the trader side.
Okay.
And they founded us in the middle 90s, 1995 to be concrete, because of there was an environmental minister. Do you remember still Klaus Töpfer?
Yeah, for sure.
This was the funny guy who intended to jump into the Rhine River to show everyone that there is no pollution.
Now. Exactly.
And this was his first idea. Yeah. And the second idea was to oblige every spare part producer and trader to take back the waste out of the garage physically.
Yeah.
And this would have had a very big impact to our sector. And to avoid such a strong and from our point of view as well, stupid legislation, the sector came together with all the associations at that time to decide to first to sign a voluntary pledge, so to oblige themselves voluntary to take the load of from the garages. Yes. And afterwards, they founded a PARTSLIFE. They founded a company and they called them PARTSLIFE.
Klaus Töpfer.
No, Klaus Töpfer, not. Klaus Töpfer was the
I know.
Was the guy with the idea.
Yeah. Okay. And for sure, PARTSLIFE has been founded in Germany. And I think, or in the first years, that you have acting just in the region of Germany. And what is your further developments? And in which markets today does PARTSLIFE offer solutions?
Maybe I go one step back to tell you a little bit more about the history and how we developed first in Germany. Because after the idea from Klaus Töpfer, and after the sector decided to found the company, we had a blanket sheet of paper. So there was nothing written on, and no one had an idea how to fulfill environmental legislation for the sector, what to do in concrete. So, and basically we decided together with our partners, with our shareholders, that we should set up a workshop disposal system. That means that we took some recycling companies and collectors under contract to make sure that the workshop gets rid of the waste in any situation. So afterwards, we created an online tool. We call it Pool, PARTSLIFE Order Online. And with this online tool, the workshop was very early in the century, able to get rid of all their waste fractions. So that means starting from waste oil, going to oil filters, to brake fluid, and everything you can imagine. And with that kind of solution, actually, we fulfilled the voluntary pledge we signed in front of Klaus Töpfer. So that means that we took already care in the starting century that the workshops get rid of their waste.
Okay.
So, and with that kind of solution, we've been very successful. Until today, we have a market share just in Germany of about 70%. So that means more than 13,000 workshops follow us, going to recycling their waste with our system.
A nice market share, indeed.
It's a very nice market share, and we are still growing. So year by year, we get around 1,500 new clients from the aftermarket.
Congratulations. That's also a clear topic that you are doing very good job outside. Yeah, and that it's maybe it's a
Exactly.
Me Too effect after that, or what is the reason behind you are really attracting the garages by yourselves? So that means you have some colleagues turning around and visit the garages and ask to become PARTSLIFE member? Or what is the topic behind?
We are not out of our own as successful, honestly speaking. So we need definitely the traders to support us. So because the garages are very strong connected with their traders, with their wholesalers,
with their partners, yeah, right.
with their partners. And, you know, it's a very big load for them to get rid of their waste and to recycle the waste in the right way, to get the right certificates from the recyclers, from the collectors. And very often the garages have no clue how to organize that legal.
Yeah.
And so very often they ask their wholesalers, their partners, because with them they have a very strong connection. They trust them in all cases, and they ask them, like, for example, WM here in Germany, quite successful for us, quite
and
successful.
By the way, it's shareholder of Global One Automotive.
By chance. I'm just mentioning it by chance.
A clever guy.
So, and it's a very strong cooperation with them, for example. That means we visit every exhibition of them, and they recommend regarding the waste disposal systems to contact us there at their exhibitions, for example. Okay. Another very strong partner is Liquimoli, for example. So they are delivering oil together with WM, for example. And at the same time, they recommend to go for the recycling of the waste oil with PARTSLIFE. So WM and Liquimoli are both, for example, shareholders.
Interesting.
Okay, by the way. And so we always need our strong partners, and it's crucial for us being a part of the independent automotive aftermarket to get more and more clients. And you know, meanwhile, we are well known in the aftermarket. Definitely, they know our faces, they know our company, and so we have the chance to develop new solutions and to offer these solutions to all of the workshops.
Okay. But coming back to the initial question, in which markets you offer the solutions? Germany is clear. But do you have also a view already business in international countries? It's clear in other countries. So give us an idea, the audience, in which countries you will be present also in the future.
I will give you the idea in about 5 minutes, if you're not against, because meanwhile I could point out that after we've been building up our workshop disposal system quite successful, as you already found out, we've been thinking about how we could develop further solutions. If there are any more solutions which might be attractive directly for our partners. So for the
not only
wholesalers,
recycling, okay,
themselves, and for the suppliers themselves. And at that point, we found out that there is also a very big load for them for the fulfillment of existing environmental legislation. For example, packaging ordinance, to fulfill the packaging ordinance, or to fulfill the WEEE Act, so Waste of Electric and Electronic Equipment Act. And because plenty of them are producing electronic devices, or plenty of them have their own brands, again, like, for example, WM, and so they are responsible to face legal requirements for the fulfillment of packaging ordinance or for WEEE Act.
I see.
And so 20 years ago, we started to develop, beside the workshop disposal system, which was quite successful, we started to develop solutions, especially for the wholesalers and especially for the suppliers. So to make real and to make sure that all of them are facing all kinds of legal requirements. And now coming back to your question,
in 5 minutes are nearly gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Approximate.
Due to the globalization of our market, it happened more and more that our customers ask us if we could also deliver solutions in other markets.
Right.
In the first row in the European Union. And that's quite interesting. You know, most of us have the opinion that there is that the European Union has really a big impact to the legislation in our country. In real, it is like this. About 90 to 95% of all environmental legislations are given by the European Union first. But how the legislation is transposed in the 27 member countries of the European Union is totally different.
Totally fragmented.
Absolutely. So that means that we are talking about 27 several kind of packaging legislations in 27. Exactly. The same load for WEEE, so for electric devices. So, and due to the globalization in our aftermarket, as well on the trader side and also on the supplier side, it's a quite a big challenge for all suppliers and traders to face several legal requirements in all 27 member countries of the European Union. And that came they came to the conclusion to ask PARTSLIFE about 10, maybe 15 years ago, if we could also face the legal requirements in the other European markets. So, and that brought us to the situation, or maybe also especially me, because at that time I was the key account manager at PARTSLIFE. I'm meanwhile around 5 years the managing director of PARTSLIFE. And as the key account manager, it was my task to travel around through the European countries to find out where our solutions could be successful and profitable for the company, and in the first row always for the independent automotive aftermarket. So we came to the point at first to install our sector solution in Austria, because we are talking more or less a similar language, you know. Sometimes it's about details.
No comment from my side.
No comment. And we've been quite successful. On our highest level, we reached a market share of about 20% of all workshop disposal fractions. That means 20% of the independent aftermarket workshops went with us. Meanwhile, we are a little bit decreasing in Austria, because we focus since the last, you can say, 5 years on the Eastern European countries. So with great pleasure, I can report that we found very attractive partners to set up our own systems in Eastern Europe meanwhile.
And if we take those 27 countries into account, how many out of them are today partners of PARTSLIFE, if I can say it like this?
So beside the Austrian market, we develop here from Germany. We decided to found companies in Poland, in Hungary, and in Romania.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we are running 5 companies in these 3 countries, because to fulfill special kind of legal requirements, you have to set up sometimes one company which is just responsible, for example, for the collection of packaging material, because it's written like that in the national legislation. So it must be, by the way, also a stock company. What it makes a little bit more complicated. Also. So, and if you take this under account, we have altogether 5 companies right now in 3 countries in Eastern Europe, and definitely we will found further companies.
That would be my next question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And quite interesting, we decided to develop at first companies in Eastern Europe, because
normally, sorry to interrupt you, but it's normally, from my personal point of view, not obvious to do so. Normally, you're thinking always into Western regions. That should be obvious to do it in France or in Spain, but you're talking about Poland, Romania, Hungary.
Yeah. So there are 2 points. The first point is, so this is my personal experience. I have to
Yeah, we have to take care about the micro.
Push the mic.
Yeah.
So, I was traveling around all over Europe, from the UK, France, Belgium, Spain, wherever, Netherlands, everywhere. And my personal experience is that the people you meet there, nevertheless, which country, in the so-called Western part of the European Union, that they are usually very convinced in what they are doing. So that means they are very skeptic if someone comes along presenting them a new solution or a new business model or whatever.
I see.
So they've been, this is my personal experience, not as open as in the eastern part, because in the eastern part it was opposite, and it's until today. If someone from the western part goes to the east to offer them an idea, a business model, whatever, they always at first listen to you very carefully, and then afterwards they decide if this could be an option for them or not. And this happened to me, honestly speaking, in the case of Intercars and Autonet, because they are our current partners. And together with them, we founded our 5 companies in Eastern Europe, and we are very successful. So this is the first reason why we go to the East. The second reason why we decided to go to the East was that we are talking about member countries of the European Union when we talk about Poland or Hungary or Romania or whatever. And this means that they do have more or less a similar legislation, or they should have a more or less similar legislation like we have in Western Europe.
Okay, I see.
But there is no structure behind. So that means there are not already all service providers existing which are able to fulfill these requirements. And so we are very helpful for them to
bring them forward,
face the requirements.
In a 5 years perspective, how many countries you would like to add? I think you have already a business plan in your pocket. I know you very well. You will never be sitting here unprepared. Can you give our audience an idea about your future planning if we talk about international development?
So together with our international shareholders, Autonet and Intercars, we decided to cover, at the end of the day, the whole European Union. So this is the first plan.
Okay.
It was our plan to grow every single year of 2 countries. So this is a little bit too fast, because we learned that you have to ask for several certificates and permissions from the legal governments, from the governments, from the authorities, and it's sometimes not as easy. So we will not grow as fast as we planned at the beginning. But let me point out, we are in economic ways successful, and we've been from the first minute. So there was no investment needed from the principal shareholders. We've been profitable from the first second.
Okay.
And so we've done well. So at the end of the day, and so we decided to reduce a little bit the speed of the growth, because for us it's also crucial, to not to make a fault or mistake somewhere, that we do not respect the legal obligations, or also not in detail. And sometimes it needs some more time than we expected to get the certificates, to get the permissions from the authorities. And so I think, so the next year we plan, for example, 2023 to enter up to 2 markets. So
okay,
Slovenia is one of our markets we have in focus. Czech Republic might be, it's not already decided, but there are several options.
Okay, I see. I think we have already scratched a little bit this topic, but maybe you can go a little bit more in detail to answer the question, who is the owner of PARTSLIFE today?
Today we do have 30 shareholders, and all of them, except one, are suppliers, producers of spare parts, or traders of spare parts. And they are located, you can say, more or less everywhere in Europe. So most of them are from Germany, but there are also shareholders from Denmark. Take Triscan, for example, or Intercars, Poland. Take Autonet, Romanian, Birna, Austria, for example. So we do have altogether 30 shareholders.
Okay, I see. So what it means if you talk about the companies coming from Germany, the well-known brands at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And there's a dedicated topic called Systempartner. Maybe first of all, you can explain a little bit what is Systempartner and how many Systempartner do you have and what does it mean being a Systempartner?
So altogether, we do have 54 system partners. And generally, there are two possibilities to cooperate with PARTSLIFE. The first possibility is that you decide to become a shareholder. If the General Assembly decides to take you in their round,
community,
in their community, if they will accept the application, then you will become a shareholder. And the other option is in deciding to be a system partner. If you are a system partner, you document in being a system partner that you care about the legal obligations regarding environmental protection and everything, climate change, all the solutions behind. You document this, and you are furthermore, you are going to pay an annual fee for the system partnership. And if you decide like this, we take you on our brand sheet so that we document. So look at these great partners. All of them are going to fulfill the environmental legislations everywhere where they place their products. And for them, it's one of the key focus to make sure that everything is going right.
I can confirm this topic because, as you perfectly know, Global One has recently signed the contract.
Now I remember.
Yeah, I know that you remember. It's already more than 8 weeks ago. And that should be very hard for you
to remember.
No, but Daniel, how do you see the future regarding environmental legislation? I think from my personal point of view, it should be a crystal ball because I would say it's enormously complicated or even not.
I don't agree that this is a crystal ball because, you know, just remember when you switch on television, there are currently 3 topics. So the first topic is Ukraine. The second topic is coronavirus, still, obviously, more or less is coming up again.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, it seems so. So, and the third topic you can find there is climate change.
Yeah,
and climate change is always related to environmental protection and the fulfillment of environmental legislation. Because just if the legislation becomes stronger, we will make sure that the impact of the production and of the logistic and of whatever is reduced. So the plan of the authorities is to force all stakeholders to reduce their impact. And they will reach that target with a stronger legislation. And the stronger the legislation will be, the more work to be done from our side, because the load will become even higher for the traders and for the suppliers coming back to our markets to fulfill these legislations. And therefore, our future will be brilliant. This is our explanation.
Let me say, it cannot be becoming better right now. If the future is brilliant, especially to hear something like this within these crazy times, I think it's the perfect end of this discussion round. I'm so happy to have had you here within the Global One Automotive discussion round, the hot seat. Maybe it's not so hot, but I think it was very interesting and important to have you here to give it a little bit more deeper view about the legislation, especially, and the impact also on international basis if we talk about all these topics. And especially your offer from PARTSLIFE towards our market, that you are ready and that you are here to fulfill all the demands from the different European Union countries. And if someone is now from our international audience interested in, I think can immediately contact you.
Contact me anytime.
Or one of your colleagues.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I will hand over to someone, or I will care about personally if I can be helpful. So whatever, I will be available. So it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me here today, Marcus. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to point out our solutions and the background of PARTSLIFE. And I'm very happy to have you as system partner.
I'm happy to have you as my friend.
Yes,
thank you, Daniel.
Well.
Bye.
Bye.